how do you make an organization adaptable if you agree that the future is hard to predict? Because if it's hard to predict, you need to be fast to react when something actually does change. You need two things. First of all, you need to give collective consciousness. Basically, this is a fancy word for giving context. What we mean by this is that we want people in our organization to know as much as is possible versus this old principle that the military coined, which was called a need to know principle. The need to know principle basically means whatever you need to do your work is all you're going to get. The rest you do not need to know. In our terms, this could mean like, hey, developer, I need a button. Don't ask why, but just do it. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to give people context. We try to give access wherever is possible. In our company as well, everybody has access to the entire data stack that we have. Business metrics as much as is possible. We give a lot of context to the research. Every engineer knows our customers quite well. The second step that you need to give is empowerment. Now, empowerment is a finicky one because to get from ask me for permission on everything, we want to get to ask for feedback, and that's totally fine, but you can make the decision yourself. It follows the principle that a designer probably knows better how to design than me. But we're not trying to involve, or like we don't try to tell people with directive management how they should do their things. Now, here's a funny one, because I had a talk with some people the other day. Delegating does not mean empowerment necessarily. If you made a decision and you tell someone that they should do it, that is not empowerment. If you tell people, look, this is the problem that we're trying to solve, and then you delegate the solvage of this problem to them, then that's empowerment. If you don't tell people how to do things, then you're empowering them. However, there's a caveat to this. If you're doing the first, if you give people context, but you do not empower them, then they know what's wrong with the system, but they cannot do anything about it. Sooner or later, they will quit. Or they stop caring and they become just like, duds, whatever. If you empower people, but you do not want to give them context, you just want to share as little as possible, you will set them up for making bad decisions. And then you should not be surprised if they cannot give you real good solutions for the problems that you actually start to identify. Let me talk really briefly about the case of Chelsea Manning. Now, Chelsea Manning was a soldier in the US Army, I think, and she walked out with 750,000 classified documents from a high security building, and then actually handed this over to Wikipedia and shared it to the entire world. This was a direct consequence of what the military was doing from what I just explained above. They were giving a lot of context, and they also empowered people to act on them. They lowered security standards. A lot more people got actually access to, a lot of documents that were security highly relevant. And yet they said the added benefit from changing an organization to give people context and to empower them to make decisions themselves was outweighing by far these big bang events that you have sometimes from security, where you just think, oh no, but now we need to implement a process to take away the context from people. And they deliberately said, look, this is always going to happen, but the additional gain that we're getting from actually enabling people, from giving them purpose, from making them understand, will always be bigger than those